Hi friends, welcome to my channel. You are on the thrill of the flip. My name's Dee and I am a thrifter and a reseller, but I love taking thrifted items and remaking them into something more modern and more beautiful. If that sounds like something that you would enjoy, please be sure and stay tuned. All right, guys, this project I'm very excited to work on. I purchased this vintage jewelry box at an estate sale. I know it was probably about a year ago. And I really want to update it and bring it into this decade. So I'm going to be painting it. But before I paint anything, I'm going to be removing all of the hardware on here and the doors. So I will get all of the hardware removed and then we'll come back and do the next step. All right, it took a little bit, but lots of tiny screws. I always put all of my pieces in a little cup. I took out these. These are not even glass. They're plastic and they're discolored. So I do believe I'm going to paint over these with some chalk paint. I haven't totally decided yet, but that's my plan so far. So I have taken everything apart. I taped off right here so I don't get paint on the material on the inside. And I am going to paint this. I wanted to try this color. This is Fusion mineral paint, and the color is Laurentine. And this is one of the little sample bottles. And let me tell you what, you could get a lot of painting done with these little sample bottoms. It's what bottles. It's 1.25 fluid ounces. So this has your primer and sealer all included in your paint, which is a wonderful thing. So if I can get it open, we will start painting. Oh, I love that. That's a pretty color. Ooh, I can't wait. I'm going to start on the bottom. Now, I did run into one issue. When I was unscrewing one of the feet, the screw broke off in the hole. So what I'll end up doing is just putting a little dab of E6000 here and, put my foot on there and then screw this one in. And hopefully it's not going to go anywhere. So, and I'm not painting the inside. I'm only going to be painting the outside of the jewelry box. So I'm just going to start with the bottom. Oh, I like this. Is a pretty color. It's kind of like an aqua. Oh yeah, I like this. This is going to be pretty. Absolutely. Okay, and I want to make sure that I get any runs that may go on the edges there. Okay, guys, I put 2 coats of the Fusion paint on my jewelry box. Now I'm trying to decide what I want to do with these pieces of plastic that go in the doors. I had a thought. Y'all remember the frosted contact paper that you would put on your bathroom window? I had thought about putting that on here, but then I'm like, no, because then when people see it, that's the first thing they're going to think of is somebody's bathroom window. So I'm going to clean these really well, and I think I'm going to paint them with an off-white chalk paint, and perhaps put either some decoupage paper over it or a transfer. All right, so as you can see, I have decided that I am going to use some scraps of decoupage paper that I have. I have some pieces here with some beautiful, like peachy pink colored roses. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to try to use some of this paper up. I'm going to use this, this little piece right here. Perhaps I could use this piece here. So that looks like a plan to me. I also have this piece here that I could use as well. I'm using my Fusion decoupage and transfer gel. All right, so I am just going to do this whole entire piece because it's small enough. I don't really have to do a starter strip. I'm going to spritz my paper and lay this on here. Spritz the paper. Okay. All right, guys. So off camera, I put all my hardware back on. And let me just say, I had, oh my God, such a hard time putting these doors back on, the hinges. They don't want to close all the way. They're rubbing on the paint up on top, as you can see. I don't know. I don't know why they won't go back on the right way. That's what happens sometimes when you take something apart that's old. It doesn't go back like it was. And of course, when you paint something, you do have that risk of it rubbing against, friction. So what I did is I sanded off my excess decoupage paper on these pieces when it was dry, and I put everything back together. I did some distressing because I didn't have a choice, because it was scraping the paint off up here anyway. So I did some, well, first I sealed everything. I sealed everything with polyacrylic sealer. I sealed all of my paint. even though I didn't have to because it had, Fusion Paint has a built-in sealer, I did it anyway just for extra protection. So, I was thinking I would put a transfer on the top here. I pulled this transfer. This is from the IOD transfer book called Rose Botanical. And I think it matches okay with what I have going on down here. I'm just going to put it up on the top. All right, let me grab my transfer stick and start rubbing my transfer. I go from one end to the other, being sure to rub the whole transfer. Then I will pick a corner up. And as I'm rubbing, I lift up the sheet of vellum to help the transfer release from the vellum sheet. Then once it's fully transferred, I just take that sheet and rub it all over my transfer to make sure it gets rid of any wrinkles or bubbles. And that's called burnishing. I do have to seal in my transfer. So for that, I'm just going to use a little bit of clear wax to seal it in. And there we go. Seal it in. And then wipe off the excess. I really do like this a lot. So y'all will have to let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Okay, guys, project number 2. I purchased this metal sign at one of the thrift stores. And what I'm going to do is I am going to paint this white. And I am going to put this very cool graphic on here. White Rabbit Inn, established 1784. But of course I need to take off this metal piece, and it just unscrews. It's held on with a couple of nuts. All right, I got that piece off, and now I'm going to be painting this. I'm just going to use the Folk Art chalk paint in the color Cottage White. I am going to not paint the very edges of this because I need to blend the edges to match the background of this picture. And since this is already brown, why make more, blending for myself? So I'm going to try to not get near these edges. So let's get painting. All right, so as quickly as I said I was going to try to leave the edges brown, it left my head. So I ended up painting the whole thing, and as you can see. So I am going to need to, so this is going to have to go just underneath the 2 holes, and then I have to center it. And then I'm going to have to blend in this, and this. Let me move this a little bit, guys, so we can get in here and you can see. So it looks pretty centered to me. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. And I am going to use my trusty old Elmer's purple glue stick. Ooh, that's pretty good. I mean, we're gonna be missing a little bit of the bunny's legs, but that's because I have to, I want you to be able to see White Rabbit when I put this back on. So that's why I had to do it like that. Okay, so this is on well. I just like to just keep rubbing on it, make sure it's down good. And now I can sand off the excess bits. I really wish I could have fit this on the way I wanted, but yep, we are missing the bottom of his little legs. All right, so now I have to try to blend this. And I was thinking maybe I could use the Tim Holtz Distress ink in walnut and see how that looks. If I don't like it, I can always go over it with paint. Yeah, no, it's not going to be dark enough, but it'll give me a jumping off point, I guess. So we'll do that. Put that on first, and then I can go with my paint. Might even be able to go over it in black, and that would darken it up. Let's see how that works. I just like to try stuff, guys. That's the way I am. Kind of, you know, experiment and see, you know, if it works. Actually, that is not too bad. It's a little too black. So I'm going to have to definitely blend with paint. So I'm just going to go off camera and I am going to try to blend this in with some brown paint. All right, guys, I blended as best as I could. I really should have frayed the edges of my paper with some water and ripped it instead of having straight edges, but it does not look too bad. So, and as you can see, I'll show you, over here is where I was blending all my colors and stuff. So now I am going to put this back on. It just has two like nuts and then a couple yeah. Nuts. 2 bolts and 2 nuts. That looks pretty darn cool, though. Not bad at all. Now, I am not going to seal this in because it is not going to be used, you know, like you would if it was a tray or something like that. And also, if I seal this, I could seal it with some wax. But I wouldn't want to use like any decoupage medium or anything, because then you'll get bubbles and wrinkles in your copy paper, because this was just printed out on copy paper. And also, you risk the run of smearing your image. So I'm just going to leave it like it is. I am not going to put any sealant on it at all. I will seal my chalk paint on here, but that'll be about it. Okay, guys, my third project, I bought, oh my God, probably 2 years ago, 4 cabinet doors from Goodwill for $5.99 a piece. And I've been wanting to do something with these for quite a while. And the other day, I got some pretty decoupage paper from a friend of mine. So I decided to do something with the center of the door. Now, my apologies. I thought my camera was recording and it wasn't. So this is what I did with this beautiful, this is rice paper. No, this is decoupage paper, not rice paper. My apologies. Rice paper has those thick fibers in it. So what I did is I just put my piece of rice paper in here, and I traced along the inside with my fingernail to crease my paper so I would know how big to cut my paper to fit in here. And then all I did is take some decoupage medium and decoupage this in the center. But I want to add more to this piece. I really want to dress it up. So for that, I am going to be using some molds from IOD and some air dry clay. All right, the mold I'm going to be using is called Classic Elements. And again, it's by IOD. And what I'm going to do is I am going to mold several of this beaded trim, and that I'm going to put all around this inner square. And then I am going to cast 4 of these to put in each corner of my frame. Now, if you've never used air dry clay before or molds, it's really, really very simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your mold and you're going to dust whichever design that you want to use with some cornstarch, because the cornstarch will help the clay release from the mold. Then we're going to take our air dry clay. You can use whatever brand that you like. And we are gonna start by rolling it into like a sausage shape. And I'm gonna start like down here. And I'm just gonna start pressing my clay down into the mold. When you dust it with the cornstarch, it doesn't want to stay down in the mold at first. You just have to keep working with it. And then what I usually will do is I'll take my brayer and roll over it so that it gets into nice down into the recessed areas. Then I take my straight blade and I go along, skimming the top with the blade to get rid of the excess clay. And I usually will flex it a little bit. And then you turn it upside down. I don't want to do it on my paper there. Let me get my lid out. Turn it upside down and roll your mold, and your design should pop right out for you. Just like that. All right, guys, I have cast all my molds. I glued on my corner molds, and I have laid out the ones that I want to go around here. I think I'm going to have to kind of go like this. And then I'm going to have to butt up like this. I know you guys can't see that. Sorry. I'll show you on this side. I'll have to take this one and butt it up to this one. And then I'll cut it and then just put a single bead there, and the same thing on the other side. All right, let me start gluing. I'm going to start on the bottom. I'm going to start gluing my pieces. If I could get my glue started here. I'm just going to use my finger instead of a paintbrush right now. And like I said, you really don't need tons of glue. And I am using Tight Bond Quick and Thick glue. You can get it on Amazon. That's where I get it. And I just want to make sure that this is even with the edge. And then I'm gently just going to press it down to make sure it's making contact with the surface. All right, now I'm going to cut off one of these beads, and I am going to glue this to the corner. I know you guys can't see that. All right. All right, let me work on this side now so you guys can see. Now this one I will butt up against the other one. Gently tap it down. Make sure it's straight. All right, now for this one, we're going to go right up to here, and we're going to cut this one off right here. Let's glue this one on.
And then you guys get the gist. I'm going to glue this one on, and then I'm going to take a single bead and glue it in the corner to fill that corner in. And I don't have to do it here. All right, let's get this one on. Come on, glue.
All right, guys, I have all of my molds glued on, and I'm going to go around with a wet wipe and just clean off the excess glue. the best I can. Trying not to disturb my molds, which I'm not doing a very good job of. But yeah, you just want to go around and clean off the excess glue with a wet wipe. Now, these, I'm not sure what color I'm going to do these castings. So I'm just going to let them dry overnight, and then I'm going to come back and figure out, do I want to leave them, you know, plain and antique them, which is what I'm kind of leaning towards. I'm really not sure. So I'm going to let them dry overnight, and then we will come back with the next step. All right, guys, I went back to my other way of filming. I still have so many glitches to work out as far as my filming goes. But anywho, so these molds have all dried overnight. And I was thinking of painting these corner pieces a pink that would match these beautiful roses. And I have this folk art metallic paint, and it is this beautiful pink. So I'm going to try it and see if it will match. It's called Rose Shimmer. That's the color. So I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit into this little cup and see if I like the way it looks. I need a smaller paintbrush. All right, let's see. Oh, you know, this really matches great, I think. And then I can dull it down with some, maybe some aging wax. Yeah, I think that will work. And I think the ones in the center, I am going to leave, I'm going to paint them the same color as this cabinet. Of course, then I will put aging wax on all of the molds. And I think they're going to look great. Okay, guys, I got my corner pieces painted, and I went around and cleaned up the extra paint as best as I could. So now I want to add some, oh my God, look at my nails, y'all, from wax and paint. I am going to add some clear wax to my beading here first. And then I am going to add a little bit of dark wax. I am going to use a small brush, but a stiffer brush to apply the wax to the beading. All right, I'm also going to add some clear wax to my corner pieces. All right, so I did put my dark wax on and leave it on for a little longer, but I would like to age this up a little bit more, and I'm going to use DIY's Decrepit Dust. And this is great to use when you have put your wax on and it's still kind of on the wet side, because the decrepit dust will stick to that moist wax and you can age up your project. So that's what I am putting on here, and a little goes a very long way. I'm going to put some on my picture along the inside edge so that it kind of matches the border. Okay, now I will take a clean brush and brush off all of the excess. And then I will take a Q-tip and go around and get all of this off where I don't want it with the Q-tip. All right, guys. So I'm going to use these hangers because this is on the heavier side. So I am going to place them about 4 inches down from the top, and then I will find the center of the door once I mark my 4 inches. All right, so I am going to drill my holes. I marked my holes. Okay. And now we will screw in our D-rings. I think they're called. That's what they're called. I could be wrong. Probably am. All right, now this is the only piece of wire that I had left. So I'm going to see. This should be enough for me to do this picture. And then you just wind it around itself. Okay. I have to buy more picture hanging wire. This one I liked because it's braided. Several strands braided, so it's strong. I should have made it a little bit shorter.